Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. First, I want to say thank you to all the guys that have emailed me over the past couple weeks. I really appreciate the support. Means a lot to Melinda and I seeing the emails. They're very authentic, and I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. So I'm working on a couple new courses that I'm going to release here probably within the next couple weeks that are going to be really good. They're taking me some time to film. Like I said, part 2 of the Wahoo series is available, and that's how I run my high-speed planer off the downrigger using an electric downrigger. I was thinking back on last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I pulled up an old video, and I still remember the day. It was an absolute amazing day where I went 9 for 14 fishing solo off of Isla Mirada, 9 Wahoo. It was just an amazing day. So, and like I said, I had caught multiples in the morning, and then I had to drop down to 1 rod, and I had them dialed in off that electric downrigger. So I just set it out, get on the herd, and catch one, and then release one, and then catch one, release one. And I don't want to do it again because catching and releasing Wahoo was a total pain in the ass. A total pain in the ass. I won't do it again. But I learned a lot that day about the fishery and how they move, and I was able to follow the pack that day, and I learned a lot. So that's why I stayed with them. And I set my personal best, 9 Wahoo. Fishing solo. So, and I documented every one of them. I caught them on stand-up rods. I think the average fish was about 20 to 25 pounds. I caught a few 15-pounders that day as well. So there were smaller fish. That there were no 50s or 60s in there. I think and there were no 40s. So they were all mid-sized fish, which was great for me to handle. While fishing alone. Now, one thing with releasing Wahoo, oh my God, what a pain in the ass. They're a pain. Those fish are extremely tough to revive. Extremely tough. The amount of energy they release during a fight, and they really do, like, if you're fighting them right, those fish come into the boat exhausted. So I had to make sure that I released those fish very quickly, and I revived every fish before I released it, so that took time as well. But man, are they a pain in the ass to release. Pain in the ass. And each fish I hooked that day, they were hooked good. I had to bring them into the boat, and some of them I was able to release outside the boat using a de-hooker, and then they swam off, and some of them, I had to really, really work at reviving, and that took forever because I didn't want to kill any fish. And I was very proud of myself that I was able to make sure that I revived every fish, and every fish swam away unharmed. They were just a little sore, so they swam away with a sore mouth. I shouldn't say they were unharmed, but they had a sore mouth, that's for sure. And the baits that I used that day, in the morning. Everything started out on ballyhoo. The guys that were high speeding that day, they didn't have any luck. So, but at least the guys I talked to at the dock. So that's another thing, is that you might be high speeding one day and that's not what they're on. One thing about the Keys is that it's such a ballyhoo driven fishery. It's the same that goes with sailfish. You could be out there fishing with goggle eyes and the guy next to you has ballyhoo, and what goggle eyes work really good up north for the most part, up by Palm Beach and all that good stuff for sailfish, but you come down here and you have goggle eyes fishing next to a guy that has ballyhoo, and the guy with the ballyhoo is probably going to catch him. And I've seen it. I mean, I've been out there side by side with guys with ballyhoo, and I've been out fished with them. So like I said, it just really depends on what they're keyed in on. And that day in the morning, it was all about the ballyhoo, and then all of a sudden it switched over to the bait strips on a blue and white sea witch on the downrigger. And that's what I ended up getting them on. I caught one after another on it. And my rig, I had a 6 inches of 50-pound titanium leader, a very small trace of titanium, because what I found is when you're running baits on the downrigger, fish tend to swallow those baits more so than running them on inline planers. So I use a 6-inch trace of titanium, and that's enough. So I don't like to use any more than 6 to 8 inches, to be honest with you. A lot of guys will use long pieces of wire, say they don't make a difference. And in my experience, it makes a difference. So, and plus it just gives me a little bit more confidence when I'm sending baits down. So I use 6 inches of titanium leader. That works really well for me. I catch a lot of tunas on that trace of titanium. Now, if you're flying kites, you got to have a really long piece of titanium because the titanium's out of the water, so you can get away with a long trace of titanium. So, but for me, I just use 6 inches. Works great. So the fish were not on structure that day. What I did was I got my first couple in 145. Then I got my next couple in 175 feet. And then the fish quit biting in 175 feet. Then I moved out to 220. I caught a couple there. And then I moved out to 275 and I finished up my day there. I was so tired and exhausted I couldn't do it anymore. But the fish were still biting because I was on my way in and I cooked another one. So, and this fish jumped, and then thankfully he broke it, like he spit it out. So, and then I busted my planer. I was like, oh, thank you. I just need to go in. I was so exhausted. I was like, when I got back to the dock, I couldn't even. I was like, I didn't like. I took all my energy just to muster up and clean the boat up and go home. So, but like I said, catching 9 wahoos by yourself with no gaff, getting the fish in the boat and doing all that work, it's a lot. It was a lot, and I'm not going to do that again. Just to let you guys know. So it was a personal best for me, and it was something that I've like always wanted to do, was have a day like that, and I did. And I had it. I wish I could have shared that with a client, but it was with myself, and that's just how it went. And then it wasn't shortly after that where I fished with Brooke and Victor, land shark fishing, and my buddy Elliot London, owner of Bait Strips. They called, and because they said the fishing was a little slow up there, and I said that they wanted to come down here, and I was like, well, we can give it a shot. And then they came down and we caught 6 that morning, and we've got a boat limit for them, which was awesome. It was a great morning of fishing, and then which was really cool. So we caught a lot of fish within those few days. So my advice to you guys is just go whatever you can. Just kind of be ready for whatever, and then the good things come at times you don't expect it. And I didn't expect that day to happen. Honestly, I just went fishing. Which is great. So, and it's something to keep in mind. Anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Some days are just going to be really good, and that day was really good. I look at last year in September. Right after Hurricane Dorian, I went offshore with a client, and we hooked 2 big ass Blue Marlin. And I don't want to do that again by myself. My client was going through chemo, and he quickly gave up the rod. And then I was on the rod by myself for almost 6 hours, and in the brutal heat. And I was driving and fighting a Blue Marlin that was like half the size of Good Karma for 6 hours almost. And I think I have that documented on an Atlas track, on the Atlas track tracker, how long I fought that fish. And it was really bizarre, man, because that fish, literally looking back on it, if I would have had we probably could have got him up a lot quick. I probably could have got him in quickly if I would have been able to fight him on lighter drag and just kept the boat moving forward and let him swim way back there without putting the pressure on him. And like I said, the more pressure I put on the fish, the harder he fought, which kicked my ass in turn. But I didn't have a choice. I was on the wheel, and I had the rod in one hand fighting this Blue Marlin. And my client was he was dead in the front. He just couldn't do anything. He was trying to take pictures, and he forgot his sunglasses. And so oh my God. And, I was running low on waters, and I was like, oh my God, I'll never run low on waters again that day. I was like, but I didn't expect it. Things happen out there. So now I'm always since that day when I go offshore, I'm overly prepared with waters. That day, for some reason, I was like underprepared. That shit happens. Never again. And I did get a leader release on the fish, thankfully. It was a personal, like, for me, the fish was a giant. And what was so bizarre about that fish was the fish would rise up, and I was like, okay, finally he's going to come to the boat. And he would do these big looming circles around the boat. Like, just literally, like, what the hell? Like, he was stalking me. And then he'd, like, sound again. I was like, there goes all the line. And then he would come back up, and he'd do the same thing, make big circles around the boat. And then he'd sound again. And, guys, I had this fish. The fish was over half the size of the boat. And I had him on 40-pound line, okay? And I had 40-pound fluorocarbon leader on a sea witch, on a pearl sea witch. He ate that day. And I had two of them on at the same time. So, yeah, that was pretty epic. But the bite was sick off the outriggers. They both came up, and I fed them back the bait. And I saw it come up and billing them, and that was epic. And the jump was awesome. But the fight, I don't want to do that again. If I do, I want to have somebody with me, because I like trying to fight at Blue Marlin one-handed, driving the boat at the same time. It was insane. But I did get the leader release on the fish, and I caught the fish. And for me, that was my old man in the sea moment. I was like, if you ever grew up watching the old man in the sea when you're a kid, man, you always dreamed of that. I dreamed of doing that. So that was like September brings sea monsters. But yeah, that was just another story I just wanted to throw in. So there's tricks of fighting those fish. That one was just an ass kicker. So, guys, the tip today is, as far as the fishing goes, is just being able to be prepared for anything out there. Now, what I mean by that, you should start getting ready. If you really want to catch wahoo, you should start getting ready now, okay? Because they could be here in September. So you should start getting your gear ready. You should start getting your rigs ready. You should getting everything ordered that you need. There was a good bite of wahoo up by West Palm and Pompano Beach prior to the storm. Really good. So, which means that the fish are on the move. So just something for you guys to think about. I guarantee it that they're going to catch fish in this weekend up there prior to this moon. So just something to start thinking about. But okay, so now I want to talk about the Good Karma Sport Fishing app. I want to thank you guys for downloading the app. It's going to be an awesome app when it's all said and done. I'm building this for you guys, and let's just put it like that. I'm building it for you guys. So there's going to be some cool stuff in there, and we're doing it in phases like I've mentioned before. Phase 2 is going to be badass. Phase 3 is going to be even better. Everything's top secret right now, so as far as what we're doing with it, because the stuff is original content, and I'm not willing to share that right now. So you're just going to have to wait. And one last thing about that I want to talk about in regards to the app is that if you're a fishing charter that's in Key West or outside the Keys or backcountry or over on the west coast of Florida up to the Panhandle, even up to the eastern coast, up through North Carolina, the podcast is global. So we have I have guys that listen all over the place. So, or in the middle of Florida, I don't care. Like anytime you're fishing, it's all good. So if you run if you run a charter boat business, or if you're an influencer that looking to grow your following, then you can contact me for rates as far as doing a fishing report. We can set something up. You have to really be involved with the fishing report. And if you're a tackle shop looking to grow your business, like I said, if you're a YouTuber looking to grow your channel that can provide a fishing report, you can be fishing anywhere. Like I said, it's all about it. Anytime you're fishing, it's all good. So again, if you're interested, then just give me a shout. We can discuss some other opportunities as well. You can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. Tell me about yourself. And then, like I said, then we can get back to you with the opportunity and discuss the rates as far as the fishing reports go and being on the app. All right, guys, so I have to wrap this up. I got a lot going on. I got to continue working on this project that's kind of driving me crazy right now, but I think I'm almost to the end of it. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's kind of driving me nuts. So as far as the weather goes down here, I haven't been fishing because of the storm that just passed through. The water's all messed up out there, and probably another day, I might probably another. I don't know. Right now, I've got the boat out of the water, and we're continuing to do some work on just some minor stuff, getting some detailing done, and then I'll probably put it back in the water tomorrow. Watch for my next fishing report on the app, and then I'll let you guys know what's going on with the fishing out there. That's all I got. Gotta go. Follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL _keys. Check out my website, www.goodkarmasportfishing.com. My tackle shop, goodkarmafishingtackle.com. Download the app. Good Karma. It's the Good Karma Sport Fishing app. It's available for download in the iTunes Store and Google Play Store. That's it. And remember, guys, anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have a good one.